At around 12 meters in length and more than 6 tons in weight, Acrocanthosaurus is one of the largest theropods and dates back to the early Cretaceous period. This carnivorous dinosaur gets its name, which translates to high-spined lizard, from the elongated spines running the length of its neck and back, while its sharp teeth and powerful jaw make it a fearsome predator comparable to the much more well-known Tyrannosaurus rex. Alamosaurus is one of the largest dinosaurs known to have existed, with adults growing to a length of 20 to 25 meters and weighing up to 80 tons. Native to North America during the late Cretaceous period, Alamosaurus is an herbivorous sauropod with armored spikes on its back that protect it from predator attacks. The first Alamosaurus specimen was unearthed in 1921 by a team including the famous American paleontologist Charles W. Gilmore, with subsequent fossils found across the southern United States. This genus takes its name from the location of its discovery, the Ojo Alamo Formation in New Mexico. A relative of the infamous Tyrannosaurus rex, Albertosaurus is a carnivorous theropod from the late Cretaceous period. Believed to have been the apex predator of its time, Albertosaurus's rows of razor-sharp teeth make light work of the smaller, herbivorous dinosaurs it preys on, while its sheer size, approximately 9.5 meters long and weighing around 4 tons, ensure other predators steer clear. Allosaurus is one of the most fearsome dinosaurs ever to have roamed the earth, weighing up to 2.5 tons and measuring around 12 meters in length. The apex predator of the late Jurassic period, Allosaurus's enormous skull contains rows of large serrated teeth for tearing flesh, while its long, powerful tail helps it to balance. Amargasaurus is named after the site of its discovery, La Amarga Formation in Argentina, and is an herbivorous dinosaur of the Dicraeosauridae family, weighing around 2.9 tons and spanning 9.5 meters in length. Its long neck and sharp teeth allow it to eat tough vegetation from trees, while the 2 rows of long spines on its neck and back help Amargasaurus to defend itself from predators. An important characteristic given that this dinosaur has poor hearing and is unable to move at high speeds. The giant herbivorous sauropod Ankylodocus is a genetically engineered hybrid dinosaur that combines the base genomes of Ankylosaur and Diplodocus. Its appearance borrows notable characteristics from each of its parent genera. Its long neck strongly resembles Diplodocus, while it takes the protective spikes on its body from Ankylosaurus. Famed for its clubbed tail and the armor plates that cover its back, Ankylosaurus is a genus of Ankylosaurus that lived around 70 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. Ankylosaurus's protective osteoderms and robust build, the average specimen weighs 8 tons and is 9.6 meters in length, defend it from predators such as Tyrannosaurus rex, while its large stomach digested up to 60 kilograms of ferns and shrubs every day. Ankylosaurus was discovered in the Hell Creek Formation, Montana, by Barnum Brown, 4 years after the famous paleontologist, known as Mr. Bones, had discovered Tyrannosaurus rex. At over 20 meters in length and around 20 tons, Apatosaurus is one of the largest dinosaurs ever to have existed. This herbivorous sauropod has a long neck that allows it to feed on the leaves of tall trees as well as lower-hanging plants, while the tip of its tail can be whipped to produce a loud bang that scares off predators. Apatosaurus was discovered in 1877 when Othniel Charles Marsh unearthed a near-complete skeleton in the Rocky Mountains, Colorado. Its name, which translates to deceptive lizard, stems from Marsh's initial misconception that its bone structure was that of an aquatic reptile. Archaeornithomimus is a genus of bird-like theropod with a sharp beak and long hind legs. Its size, this dinosaur weighs between 100 and 200 pounds and reaches around 3.3 meters in length, and physical features led to its name, which translates to ancient bird mimic. Atrociraptor is a carnivorous dinosaur from the dromaeosaurid family and dates back to the late Cretaceous period. The name Atrociraptor translates from Latin as savage Caesar, in reference to the rows of serrated teeth it uses to catch and kill prey, such as lizards and small mammals. This genus is one of InGen's designer dinosaurs and exists in a variety of colors.
The Australovenator has been labelled the cheetah of its time, and I can certainly see why. Here we have a hunter with terrific speed, power, and focus. The makeup of a perfect prehistoric predator, really. Just don't get spotted, because there's no way you're going to outrun this one.
The large theropod Baryonyx can grow up to 10 meters in length and is notable for its crocodile-like jaws. Baryonyx is primarily a piscivore. Although it lives on land, it can grab fish out of rivers with its long claws and swim in shallow waters to catch prey with its long, serrated teeth. It is believed that Baryonyx is also a scavenger.
Here is a Brachiosaurus. It has long limbs relative to the rest of its body, and what makes it really unique is that it's a warm-blooded dinosaur. I mean, how amazing is it that in bringing these dinosaurs back, we're also learning so much about them?
The chambered lizard, the Camarasaurus impresses with both its size and its blunt snout. It prefers to live in groups, a challenge, but one I'm confident you can handle.
At around 15 meters in length, Carcharodontosaurus is one of the largest theropods and gets its name, which translates to jagged teeth lizard, from its teeth, which can grow up to 8 inches.
Another massive animal. The Diplodocus was once considered the longest animal that ever lived. And now, thanks to our extensive research, it's back. My task is to make sure we learn everything we can about this dinosaur. Your task is making sure these magnificent creatures can survive in the modern world.
My Chinese isn't very good. Okay, I don't speak it at all, but let me give this one a try. Wyangosaurus. Nailed it, I think. Anywho, this is a type of stegosaur that was first discovered in the Sichuan province of China. It's a popular species with our guests, and with crossword puzzle creators.
This dinosaur is large, bulky, and has a stubborn disposition. It's called the iguanodon. It's an herbivore with attitude. I'd suggest giving it a wide berth.
Terrestrial is another of those spiky-backed dinosaurs. A dinosaur that relied on intimidation to keep the predators at bay. And failing that, a difficult meal to catch and chew. Think of it as a prehistoric porcupine.
I'm a fairly trusting individual, but if you were to tell me that you'd seen anything like this before, I'm not sure I'd believe you. This tusked therapsid is Lystrosaurus. Astonishingly, this species managed to survive the Permian-Triassic extinction and went on to thrive as the dinosaurs began to populate. Here's hoping it can enjoy a long tenure this time around too.
This animal, the Maiasaura, is known as the good mother reptile because its fossils were first discovered in a nesting colony. And really, who doesn't love a good mother?
Dinosaurs like this, the Majungasaurus, that can really be a handful. It's short, stocky, and lives for the hunt. This is also one of the only dinosaurs we know of that may have engaged in cannibalistic behavior. Nothing like having your friends over for dinner.
Okay, this dinosaur is something special. Seriously, look at the size of this thing. It's called the Mamenchisaurus. This thing is one of the largest animals to ever walk the Earth. And now, thanks to the wonders of genetic engineering, it's doing just that again.
Anytime you hear the word mega, you know you're dealing with something significant. And the Megalosaurus is no different. This meat-eating theropod dominates any environment it finds itself in. While that's an admirable survival trait, it's also one that we cannot accept here at the park. I want to make that clear.
Let me introduce you to the Metriacanthosaurus. Say that fast 3 times. This is another alpha predator that, while not as big as some of its cousins, tends to stand more upright. So I guess it has good posture while it's tearing you to shreds.
I've seen my fair share of ceratopsids, but not many of them compare to the Microceratus. Admittedly, yeah, there's a bit of a clue in the name, but I really didn't realize how small they are. With that said, they may well be cute, but that doesn't mean they're mute, because they're certainly, how should I put this? Communicative little critters.
Herbivore from Cretaceous Australia. What sets this species apart from other members of its family are the horizontally orientated plates that run along the sides of its backbone. Hence the binomial name, Minmi paravertebra.
Let me introduce you to Monolophosaurus. This is a no-frills predator straight from the Jurassic. Honestly, I could wax lyrical for days, because it's hard not to be impressed by such a colorful crest, but don't be fooled. This is one menacious hunter.
Ancient mythology may not be my speciality, but I've been told that Moros Intrepidus was named after the Greek deity Moros, the personification of impending doom. It was said that he gave people the ability to foresee their demise. And if you come face to face with this tyrannosaur, I suspect there is a good chance you will meet your fate.
If it is possible for a dinosaur to be both elegant and awkward at the same time, then the Muttaburrasaurus takes the prize. This is a large herbivore that should make for an excellent addition to our collection. any resemblance between the Nasutoceratops and modern-day cattle? Look closely at the horns and their relation to the eyes. It's clear to me that as we bring these animals back to life, the connections between the past and the present sharpen, and along with it, our understanding. This is what my science is all about.
This dinosaur tends to be shy and likes to keep to itself. And it has a thick skin. Sort of the opposite of Owen.
This duck-billed dinosaur is an Eloratitan. It was one of the last non-avian dinosaurs to go extinct, until we resurrected it, that is. Now it lives to be studied and put on display. The Eloratitan is a herbivore. As it grinds away its teeth while eating, it has hundreds more that continually take their place. There's a lesson in there somewhere.
This one's more my speed. The Tyrannosaurus is named after the Arabic word for courage, which is kind of my thing. This dinosaur is easy to care for and really only wants a comfortable place to eat and rest, and to be left alone. Sound like anyone you know?
If you ask me, I think this animal gets a bad rap. Back when fossils were all scientists had to go on, this Mongolian dune dweller was branded an egg thief. But you know what? It was really just looking out for its own. So as far as I'm concerned, the Oviraptor is all right in my books.
They say fences make good neighbors. I say without them, dinosaurs like this one, the Pachyrhinosaurus, shouldn't be in the park. This animal is built like a tank, and it has the personality to match.
so this next dinosaur, the Parasaurolophus, has a flair for the dramatic, especially where its head is concerned. It has a distinctive cranial crest, which is used for added resonance in its vocalizations and to regulate its body temperature.
So the Pentaceratops here, it has 5 horns. 1 on the nose, 2 on the brows, and 2 extending out from its jugular bones. It seems excessive, but maybe it's necessary.
This is the Polacanthus, and it's covered in armor plates and spikes. Mess with this animal at your own risk.
You've successfully introduced a new dinosaur, a Proceratosaurus. This animal is instantly recognizable by the colorful crest on its snout. While smaller in stature than some of the other predators, it is not a dinosaur to be taken lightly, let me tell you.
There's certainly something special about this one. Je ne sais quoi. It's a Pyroraptor. Had it not been for a forest fire sweeping through southern France, our little feathered friend here may have gone undiscovered. And my life insurance would be just that little bit cheaper. The Changosaurus. Neat. Really great that we're bringing back all these fast, hungry predators. Even better that I get to stay in the office with locks on the doors.
Interested in a dinosaur with an extremely long tail? Well, this dinosaur is for you. It's called the Sauropelta. Covered in bony armor, it has long spines projecting from its neck. All that being said, it is a relatively calm animal when placed in the right environment.
Decades of scientific innovation have made this very moment possible. Paleocuration is rarely straightforward, but is always immensely rewarding, so it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Stegosaurus.
The Spinosaurus, an herbivore that shares many traits with its more famous cousin, the Triceratops. This is a docile animal that you could make into a solid favorite with a little effort. Of course, we're all expecting more than a little effort, but I'm sure you get what I mean.
You might think that the Sinosauropteryx is the perfect size for a cute plushie to take home. But this dinosaur is a pretty mean hunter for something so small. Trust me, you really don't want this one snapping at your heels.
Around 15 meters in length and up to 4 tons in weight, fan favorite dinosaur Spinosaurus is one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs to have existed. Its name translates to spine lizard, in reference to the long spines on its back vertebrae that form a sail, which researchers believe helps Spinosaurus to regulate its temperature.
Look at an ostrich or emu, then look at this latest dinosaur, the Struthiomimus, and tell me you don't see a connection. This is one of the more bird-like dinosaurs that we've brought back from extinction. It literally has a beak instead of teeth. It's an herbivore that prefers to move in herds. Overall, a fantastic addition to the park. This is the Stygimoloch, and it is one hard-headed dinosaur. It has an armored dome crowned by horns. Despite this, it's a social and relatively docile animal, unless threatened. Then steer well clear of it. This dinosaur can do a number on its enclosures and bash its way through any number of obstacles. Take that into consideration when you're planning its environment.
This dinosaur The Styracosaurus has huge horns and a large spike similar to a rhinoceros. It also has the personality to match. It's an herbivore. It uses those horns and a beak to break into even the toughest of plants.
Trying to decide whether or not introducing a Tarbosaurus was really a good idea, but I guess it doesn't matter now. It's all in your hands.
Just when you think you've seen it all, along comes the Therizinosaurus. And believe it or not, those huge claws you see, they actually help to feed on vegetation. For real. But, just do me one favor, okay? Don't let it near my hair with those things. Personally, I don't think the Troodon gets as much respect as it should. It's one of those dinosaurs that seems like an evolutionary bridge, stuck in time and transition. The platypus of its day. And now, ours. It's also incredibly interesting to study and display, so make the most of this animal.
Dinosaur. Correction, a pretty decent-sized one, if the truth be told. It's called a Spinosaurus. The T is silent, like the P in swimming. Yeah, and it has a mohawk. At least, that's what I'd call it.
At around 13.5 meters in length and over 8 tons in weight, Tyrannosaurus rex was the apex predator of its time, with the most powerful jaw known to science and rows of large, serrated teeth. Tyrannosaurus rex enjoys a fearsome reputation around the world thanks to its size, power, and aggression, a status borne out by its name, which translates to King of the Tyrant Lizards.
Aha! This one takes us back to prehistoric Utah. I definitely wouldn't want to meet this raptor out on a camping trip, would you, huh? Because if it's distant relatives or anything to go by, the Utah raptor will make a meal of anything it can get its claws on.
Everyone knows I have a soft spot for this dinosaur, the Velociraptor. And they get a bad rap as far as I'm concerned. But if you imprint early enough, you can make real connections with them. Other than Claire, raptors are the most intelligent partners I've ever had. And like her, they could kill me in the blink of an eye. That's a joke.
Don't spend too much time looking at those plates. When it comes to the Werehosaurus, it pays to keep an eye on this animal's thagomizer. You don't want to be on the receiving end of a swing of that tail.
The Eutyranus. The feathered tyrant brought so much excitement, so much intrigue to the scientific community when it was first discovered. And here we find ourselves in the presence of that illustrious Tyrannosaur. Just don't be too surprised if it ruffles a few feathers, okay?